Partners from Alabama.
I just want to say wow to what Lori just talked about. And actually, Lori, what you're doing in K through 4 really is very similar to what we're doing. And we do have second graders doing soils. I know you're moving it to first grade. And I have to tell you, it's really funny to watch them with those augers. But just a real cute little story about that. We were out helping train, as your pre-service teachers are doing. And we had this little boy, little chubby kid that all the other kids kind of ostracized and, I guess didn't particularly, little boy excel a whole lot in second grade. Well, none of the other little second graders could get through the rock-hard soil. And so our trainer, who happens to be one of our co-directors, Lynn Vaughn, asked him to come over because we thought maybe his math might help. And sure enough, it did. And he dug the hole, and he was like the little star that day, and he was so proud of himself. And it actually, we found out later, started changing his whole attitude about school. So there are some good things about having those little guys, Anyway, real quickly, I just want to say that some of you already know about our Alabama program, so I'm just going to go through a little bit of a review, very similar to what Lori talked about what we're doing in Alabama, and then Jerry's going to talk to you about how some of our teachers have taken it a step further, which is really neat. We are a State Department of Education-based partnership. Because we started an Alabama Math, Science, and Technology initiative. Our director is sitting in the room, Mr. Steve Ricks over there, and he was very willing for us to make GLOBE a part of that program from the very beginning. And we use GLOBE as our authentic science piece, where kids really go out and collect real data rather than just a kit-based science, which is something else we already use. And so we have different protocols that we use at different grades as well, but our teachers go through 2 summers of 2 weeks of intensive training, not just on GLOBE, but on math and science at the K-5 level, and then 6 through 12 they specialize either in science or mathematics. This is basically our breakdown, and I wanted Lori to see it and let you know, Lori, that we have an extensive website where we've developed activities other than just what GLOBE has and just what Elementary GLOBE has, although we've incorporated some of Elementary GLOBE. We started this before there was an Elementary GLOBE, and it's available to anybody. Our middle school teachers go through a day and a half of GLOBE one summer and a day and a half the next summer. Our elementary teachers just go through one day. But this we correlated, of course, with our standards, and then when we have the next generation science standards, which our state probably won't adopt either, as Mike and I were talking about, because the evil E word is going to be in there, and Alabama isn't going to go for that. But we will probably, as we develop those standards, really look at what they did with the next generation and match it up. So we will probably be having to change this much as they're going to have to do in Minnesota. Okay, Jerry. Wanted to talk about some of our challenges, physically performing the protocols, with the auger. One of the issues that we had, which was acceptable to GLOBE, was, we have our first graders using the rain gauge. Well, if you put it on the weather station, then you have a safety issue with the children having to climb up on something so that they can either get it down and then they spill it because they're little people. So we actually, did shorter posts for the rain gauges. But I also want to say with safety, we ran into some of the issues that we stressed the protocols and where things had to be so much that we had a school that literally put their weather station across the busy highway in an open field. Hello, you're going to take your kids across that highway? Oh, no. Let's move it closer to the school. And one of the things that we found is one of the best things for science learning is for kids to learn what metadata is, even when they're little. That scientists are not in a perfect world. This is the real world, and things are not always going to be perfect, but you document that so that someone can go back and recreate what you did. One of the biggest problems with some of the interesting science that goes on in the world these days. Also, we because we focus so much on K-8, which is the part of the science program that we had at first, and then we adopted in a 9-12 program that we already had, we really focused on K-8. So taking Globe and making it age appropriate, breaking up the protocols, much like you've done, Lori, in Minnesota. That was another challenge. Okay, Jerry, next one. Gary recently came and visited and did some of the sphere activities with us, but we took him out to one of the schools. That's Lynn. And this is, just showing us using one of the rain gauges on a real low level so the little folks can get at eye level. One of the things that we do for our schools, because we've been so fortunate being a state-based thing, is that we actually do buy the equipment for the schools. We train them. We actually pay the teachers a stipend to come to training. We give them the equipment, and then we go out and coach them even after that. So we've been real fortunate. I know a lot of folks don't have, the ability to get to do all that stuff. But problem, the reason you don't see a lot, you don't realize that Alabama's got as many teachers doing some Globe is guess what doesn't happen? They don't do the data entry. Even with a coach going in, setting them up, and working with them, we're still having some trouble with that. We really, really look at our program not so much, though, on getting the data in, but what are the students learning? And our kindergartners will literally ask their teachers, okay, when are we going out to do our cloud protocols? And they love going out and doing that. And, of course, now sometimes they get a little confused because I had this one child. One day I was there, and he was calling me the Globe Lady. And he said, come on, Globe Lady, let's go outside and look at the Columbus clouds. Well, okay. But, it's a little confused. Okay, Jerry, next one. Just some of the resources that I was talking about. We've actually developed our own teacher's guides. Yes, we use some of the materials from the Globe CD, but we had to put it in teacher-friendly language for our folks. As you know, our elementary folks don't have the content background, so we really chopped it up, tried to make it real simple, and give them as much help as we could. They do have a lot of learning activities. This is something we found out. We sometimes get so focused on the learning activities that they're confused about what the protocol really is. So what we're finding is as we go through the learning activity, we always connect it back to the protocol, then do a learning activity, connect it back to the protocol, because we have to do that kind of repetition, or they're getting a little confused about how it ties back in. We do have quite a few PowerPoints and videos with age-appropriate content. Jerry's done an awful lot of work on that with Lynn's elementary expertise. And we also have something that I think is a great resource that Jerry's done. Because we've had so much trouble with data entry, he has done some little step-by-step videos with screenshots that walk the teacher through, and they have access to that any time, so when they forget, they can go through and step-by-step do that. In a computer lab, they can have Jerry talking to them while they're actually doing it on the computer. And those are available to anybody on our website. Okay? Show me which button.
Just the down button. Okay. So this is called interactive activities here. So this is interesting as we've had this discussion today, how this presentation kind of dovetailed with some of the other things that were going on. We went in October, Gary and Eric came to Alabama for our ASTA, Alabama Science Teachers Association meeting, and we took the opportunity to show them some of the things that we were doing and took them over to a school. And one of the things that we saw that I wasn't fully aware of going on were some of the activities that some of our teachers have created as well, some really neat interactive activities. This, what you're looking at, is a kindergarten classroom where we do clouds, and the teacher has, using her interactive whiteboard, has come up with a set of, in the bottom one here, they're learning to identify clouds. They're dragging pictures of cumulus clouds and cirrus clouds and whatever to the appropriate circle so they can learn to identify those. And in the upper picture, they have actually created their own data sheet using photographs of clouds. So, our teachers are kind of taking the lead on some of this and creating some interactive things. And like we were talking about earlier about touch-based technology, the students are able to use that. Okay, and I'm talking ahead of my PowerPoint, but you see what's going on here. They just drag those images into the appropriate circle. We were talking about the day they did this, you could actually bring those circles together, make a Venn diagram. So if you had, cirrocumulus or cirrostratus clouds, whatever, and
but not in kindergarten.
Not in kindergarten. Okay.
One of the good things about this too is they're connecting the word
with the clouds, because we're still working a lot with language skills at this age.
All right, and there's our data sheet that they're using. Just at the end of the month, they've got it all. So we've had to kind of tell some of our teachers, they get a little intimidated. We take them through the training. Oh, here's, run really fast through the computer lab. Here's how you do all this. And some of them leave thinking, I've got to go to the computer lab every day. I don't go to the computer lab. So this is a way, she can collect her data all month long and input that at one time. Because, until we get to the point where we have graphical data entry tools, for a lot of our teachers, they collect data like this, and then someone sits down and types it in. Okay. We kind of what we were going for here is that we don't always have to wait for somebody to send us an iPad app. There are a lot of interactive things we can do between now and the time all those great things come to us. And this is just going to show a little example here in a moment of an interactive activity that we've created and put out here for us to use, just using something as simple as PowerPoint. And one of the things I mentioned a while ago in the discussion about being cross-platform, one of the concerns I have is that we don't build in a digital divide to our student access. Let's make things that schools with more limited resources and students with more limited resources can access. So if you don't have PowerPoint, there's OpenOffice, there's Zoho, there's Google Docs. A lot of these things with a little bit of thinking outside the box can be done with free software. All right, this is a interactive cloud identification key. Some of you know Tina Cartwright over in West Virginia. Tina devised this cloud identification key several years ago. My understanding from her is she used it with college freshmen. And hers was originally text-based, and she and I kind of emailed back and forth and adapted it for younger students. We use it with our kindergarten and third grade students. We added photographs and a little bit of information. It just walks. It's not strictly a dichotomous key, but it's pretty close. But it walks them through a series of questions to identify clouds. And so we've kind of created an interactive version using PowerPoint, just using the hyperlink functions in PowerPoint. And all we did is transfer the cloud key over to a PowerPoint file so that the students then can interact on a whiteboard or on a computer screen rather than just holding up yet another handout and trying to use that. Future goals for that is I want to transfer that to Flash or some other technology so that I can put it directly out on our website where we like to keep a lot of our resources. So that right now, actually I haven't even put it up to the site yet, but as it goes up to the site, it will be a downloadable PowerPoint file. But right now, I think it's either 5 or 9 megabytes, a little bit large for slow connection to download, but hopefully we'll have it in some kind of flash-based technology or some other interactive, and then eventually an app. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to show you. I think we'll have enough time. the actual activity. Got about 3 minutes, I understand. So
I've been watching Mike, but I don't think he was timing.
okay, so you can see all it is. We got little Mr. Cloud who hasn't been named, and I had some inside jokes here between myself and Tina. I've made sure and give her credit for this book on top here and all that. So, and he's just going to tell you to follow the instructions and click on the best answer to the questions. So we're going to say today it's not raining. And, you know, if your cloud was high and wispy like a horse's tail, you would say yes. Cirrus cloud. And I kind of skipped over in the initial slide. It tells you can click on the books up here at any time and start over. So, you know, if they make a mistake, then go. Let's say it's not raining today, but it's not like a horse's tail. Is it flat and layered? Somebody choose one. Puffy and bumpy. Okay, how large are the puffs? Okay. So we have a cirrocumulus cloud. Yeah. And so you see how it operates, and there's no magic technology here. This is just hyperlinks back and forth through your PowerPoint. And once you have it built, as I said, it can be uploaded into Google Docs, Zoho, OpenOffice, whatever you use. Okay. And after hearing hers and all the great alignments and all that, we weren't laughing at you. Robin and I were back here laughing at each other. Seeing, I'm thinking we're the South Minnesota math and science thing or something.
Yeah, we need a partnership long distance.
Yeah. Okay.